I want every one of you to remember these three words. Nigerians, we are no more. Southeasterners and Southerners, we cannot become. And Biafrans, we must be.
A servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. We are live and we are direct this very morning, afternoon, or night, depending on where you are. And we start this very day by making it abundantly clear that the greatest enemy of a black man is the way that we reason. If not that the way we reason is very, very abhorrent, there is no need or reason why we should be suffering and complaining every blessed day without the courage to do something about it.
Welcome, fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom across the world. I welcome you to this amazing program. We've come once again to share information to you, information that has to do with the United States of Biafra and information that has to do with the zoological republic called Nigeria. In this platform, we bring updates, the truth and nothing but the truth. We don't push propaganda or blackmail. I'm going to share with you a very important video. You will hear an interview from an eyewitness from what transpired in Benue State. Remember the recent Benue attack that devastated life. More than 200 people lost their life in Benue State. And the government is playing down on it. I want to share with you first-hand information of what transpired, those who were directly involved and affected. Because if you are not affected, you wouldn't know how bad it is. Those who wear the shoe knows where it is penning them. That is why it is important we bring this program for you and the world to see the atrocities of Nigerian government against its own citizens in Nigeria. I want you to watch from the beginning to the end. You will be glad you did. Don't miss any statement in this video. You will understand what is actually happening in Nigeria. When we say Nigerian government is a terrorist government, this is it. Pay attention to every detail that is coming. You will understand what.
While back here in Nigeria, in a very tragic development, at least 4 residents of Ikbaraba village in Agwamed Emma Amufu, Isuzu local government area of Enugu State, have been killed by suspected headsmen yet again. Several others, however, are still missing, as search parties have been launched to recover the missing residents, dead or alive. Ubuzuru Ebe, a community leader who confirmed the recent attack, revealed that the attack occurred on Sunday evening. Although details of the attack are still unfolding, Ebe explained that the village has just recovered 4 bodies of the people killed in their farms and are currently looking for 7 people who are still missing after the attack. The attack is the latest in a series of violent assaults by suspected headsmen in Ehamufu, which have resulted in the death of scores of farmers and widespread sexual violence against women. Now, in a very recent development, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to travel to Benue State on Wednesday, June 18, as part of efforts to foster peace and address the persistent conflict affecting communities in the state. The special advisor to President Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Nanuga, who made this known in a statement today, noted that due to the visit in Benue State, the president has rescheduled his planned official visit to Kaduna State. During the visit, the president will meet with all stakeholders, including traditional rulers, political, religious, community leaders and youth groups to seek lasting solutions to the hostilities. In preparation for the visit, President Tinubu has already dispatched the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Inspector General of Police, heads of intelligence agencies, the National Security Advisor, and the Chairman of the Senate and House Defense Committees on Benue State. Now, in a similar development, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kaide Betoku, has arrived in Benue State and ordered the immediate deployment of additional tactical teams to the region. The Inspector General of Police, Kaide Betoku, met with the leaders of Yawata community in Guma local government area, Benue State, following a deadly attack that left scores dead. In a post on the official X.com account of the Nigerian Police Force today, they revealed that Egbetoku, alongside the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, assessed the damage of the attack and engaged with the community leaders. The deployment comes amid mounting public outreach and calls on social media for the federal government to declare a state of emergency in Benue following a 2-day killing spree by suspected headers.
In a recent development, the federal government has launched the official digital portal for the forthcoming Nigeria Youth Conference, also known as the National Youth Confab. The government has said that the Youth Confab is aimed at engaging young Nigerians in policy discussions and national development. The launching was announced today by Minister of Youth Development, Ayode Olawande. He said the Confab will be inclusive, non-partisan and youth-led. According to the minister, the theme of the Confab is Next Gen Nigeria, crafting solutions, owning the future. He said the portal would enable delegates to register, contribute and get real-time updates throughout the time of the Confab. You will recall that President Bola Tinubu first announced the planned 30-day youth Confab during his Independence Day broadcast in October 2024. The president also officially inaugurated a 44-member planning committee for the National Youth Conference at the State House in Abuja in March this year. The Federal High Court in Abuja has declined a request by federal prosecutors to issue a bench warrant for the arrest of suspended Senator Natasha Aboti over her absence at an arraignment. Senator Aboti was dragged to court by the federal government on charges of criminal defamation. Justice M.G. Umar today ruled against the applications for arrest, citing improper service of the charges. Senator Aboti, who represents Kogi Central and is currently on 6-month suspension from the Senate, is facing charges filed by the Federal Ministry of Justice through the Department of Public Prosecutions of the Federation, DPPF. The case stems from an April 3 interview on Channels Television, where she alleged that Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello were involved in a plot to have her assassinated. The matter has been adjourned to June 30 for arraignment. A rowdy scene unfolded on Sunday when the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC and former governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, narrowly escaped a serious beating by irate APC members in Gombe State. The incident occurred at the APC Northeast Forum meeting on Sunday. VOP News gathered that trouble began after Comrade Mustafa Salihu, national vice chairman of the ruling party in the Northeast, endorsed Tinubu for the 2027 presidential elections but refused to endorse Shetima. The moment he finished his speech, delegates at the forum started to hurl insults at him, with some threatening to attack him physically, but he had to be escorted out of the meeting by security operatives. Ganduje also did the same thing, as he failed to mention the Vice President Shetima throughout his 10-minute speech, drawing the ire of the already incensed party members. He also had to be escorted out of the venue with heavy security.
Let's take a very brief listen to the chaos that erupted at that particular meeting with the APC members.
Sit down. Quiet down.
And that was the imbroglio that stemmed out. That was Baba Gana Zulum trying to stop the crowd from actually descended into chaos. They took up cheers amongst themselves while they were shouting Tinubu Shetima. They felt that they wanted to isolate Shetima. It was supposed to be a Tinubu Shetima ticket. At that particular moment, the senators and House of Rep members literally descended into an unchaotic situation. There was tension, and while the security operatives actually escorted the governor out of the scene because members were already taking chairs, heating themselves up. It was a particular marauding situation, quite embarrassing at the moment.
Still on the same situation, tension gripped Sunday's APC Northeast stakeholders meeting in Gombe after delegates threatened to back former Vice President Atiku Abubakar if current Vice President Kashim Shettima is removed from President Bola Tinubu's 2027 ticket. The gathering at the International Conference Center was intended to reaffirm support for President Tinubu's second-term bid, but erupted in chaos when Zonal Vice Chairman Mustafa Salihu concluded his speech without mentioning Shettima. Video footage showed an enraged party member hurling a chair at Salihu as he fled the stage, while another delegate lobbed a plastic bucket in protest. Several threatened mass defection to the PDP. The meeting ended abruptly as dignitaries exited amid shouts and cheers being thrown. Outside, police deployed tear gas to disperse hundreds of agitated party faithfuls. A source familiar with the Zonal Working Committee disclosed that all Northeast NWC members, except Mustafa Salihu, had formally supported President Tinubu and Vice President Shatima for 2027.
You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We'll take a very short break. When we return, we'll head into our news analysis segment. We'll be joined via the telephone with Mr. Elvis Elimele, who is a political, national and social affairs commentator. To kindly stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. You're still listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. It's now time for our news analysis segment, and I'm being joined via the telephone with Mr. Elvis Elimele. Mr. Elvis, good evening and thank you for joining us today.
Good evening, Esther. How is your day?
My day is fine, we thank God. Thank you very much, Mr. Elvis. So, Mr. Elvis, it's I would say it's a pleasure to have you on the World News at 6 amidst disturbing circumstances. Mr. Elvis, the nation is actually in gloom. The situation in Benue State has become so terrible. It's been messy. And another recent attack has happened as well in Enugu State. Mr. Elvis, what exactly is this resurgence of bloodletting across the country, specifically in certain areas? Benue, Plateau, Enugu, Imo states. There have been dastardly attacks, killing innocent young people, as young as babies and children. Mr. Elvis, the recent one is the case of Benue State. Do you know that the federal government of Nigeria was very quick to respond to the Israel-Iran war? Immediately the missiles from Israel happened on Iran, the federal government sent a warning through the Minister of Foreign Affairs immediately to the government of Israel, warning them not to allow tensions escalate further. In the same vein, you could recall that was 24 hours after the disturbing killing that took place in Benue State. Mr. Elvis, do you know that the Pope on Sunday, who is far away in Rome, had to commiserate with the families and victims of those who lost their lives in that unfortunate incident? And the presidency, the federal government of Nigeria, the secretary to the government of the Federation, none of the spokespersons actually sent any heartfelt, heartwarming recommendation or commemoration to the victims of those who died in Benue State. Mr. Elvis, backlashes are coming from Nigerians, from opposition, from even international communities as to what exactly is the problem. The president eventually responded late Sunday evening through his spokesperson or Minister of Information and Strategy, Bayo Naniga. Bayo Naniga actually said that the president disclosed that immediately, based on his earlier warning, that the Chief of Army Staff ought to go there, and he also said that the governor of Benue State should reconcile warring factions. In other words, the president hinted to us that the situation in Benue was not a Fulani terrorist attack, but rather possibly communal clashes that escalated beyond anyone can measure. Mr. Elvis Elimele, that is your region, that is where you come from. Can you describe to me the unfortunate scenario, the breakdown of law and order in Benue State, and how the government of the day has allowed this kind of dissent to occur? Are the people of Benue not part of Nigeria? Is there a conspiracy theory in this regard to allow certain persons in the populace to die off with no recourse whatsoever?
Thank you, Esther. I think what we are going through in Nigeria is a very shameful act. Unfortunately, the politicians are only interested in themselves. They are not interested in, the welfare and security of Nigeria. It was a big shame when I saw the Pope from the Vatican being the first person to even respond to, sending condolence message to the traumatized people of Benue State as a result of that massacre that about 200 Nigerians were wasted, mindlessly. Unfortunately, the Nigerian government will tell you that it is the opposition that are exaggerating it. But I don't know how they are going to rate the Pope, saying what is happening in Nigeria right in faraway Vatican in that manner. But you see, the truth is that, Esther, the government of this nation are not truthful to themselves. They know exactly what is going on. A situation where the president will be talking of ethnicity and whatever, talking about reprisal attack and talking about the governor should make sense. It's an aberration. It's just that the president they don't want to speak the truth to the issue. The people who are doing this killing, one will ask, where are they from? After the killing, where did they run to?
Mr. Elvis, did you see the gruesome attack? Did you see the videos of that unfortunate incident? Did you see the burnt of those families? Did you see their ashes? Human beings, Mr. Elvis, human beings. Yes. It took backlashes from across the world of Nigerians before we now began to see the IGP actually going there, the Nigerian military actually going there, and the president has told us that on June 18 he is to visit. Mr. Elvis, do you know how many IDP camps are in Benue State? Do you know how many IDP camps are in Plateau State? In a country that is not at war, we have several IDP camps located, and all the government of the day is talking about is politics. Mr. Elvis, do you understand that the unfortunate loss of one soul should be of serious and grave concern to the government of the day? Have we gotten so placid that death now seems like it's chickens and goats and animals are slaughtered on a daily basis, that we're seeing no reaction or no response from the federal government?
Yeah, in Nigeria, death has become the cheapest thing. Nobody is actually looking after the welfare of anybody in Nigeria or securing anybody. The government has failed in its responsibility. Esther, when I saw the video posted by VDN, this very dark man, I was shedding tears. What is the concern of children in a matter of this nature, that children will be roasted in such brazen manner? You see, VDM was, identifying bodies of children in that video. But that's a country that is not even at war. But the war we are fighting within ourselves in Nigeria is worse than the one Nigeria could easily recognize Iran and Israeli war and begin to send a message on that, when we have not even been able to meet the one that we have in our own home. You look at the response from the ruling party. They will tell you that these things have been exaggerated by the opposition. But I don't know if the opposition are also the one that sold this to the Pope right there in Vatican for him to, respond to this matter. Now the president is talking about going to Benue State on Wednesday after all this. The same president who has said enough is enough and has told the service chief to make sure that they step up security activities in North Central to curb this incessant killing. At the end of the day, we were told last week that the chief of army staff has relocated to Benue State. I don't even know when he left.
Mr. Elvis, I don't know if you listened to Mark. Did you listen to Mark Bila on a Monitor television program earlier today, where he said the chief of army staff did not spend up to 1 minute, despite all the chiefs of the community, the Tortiv, all of them in Guerrero, all of them came around to actually welcome him, and that when he entered the government house, he didn't stay up to a minute and he left. It took this particular action. Now, questions have arisen as to why the youth of the community cannot fight back. If you recall, a former Lagos State governorship aspirant, Babatunde Badamosi, actually came out and said that it is time for the residents of Benue State to protect themselves. They should arm themselves, go in the night and defend their territory. Now, you know how reprisal attacks takes place. It's innocent families, members, or families that actually get the brunt of reprisal attacks. But as it stands right now, they say that the youth in the community actually do that, but what happens is that the military then comes, rounds them off and takes them away. So the conspiracy theory is possibly there is some deliberate conspiracy theories here, where there is some kind of ethnic cleansing or genocidal attitudes or effect or pogrom whatsoever. So the question is, did it have to get to this point before we begin to see reactions from our chief military, our inspector general of police, including the president? Did it need to get to this point?
That was why I told you earlier, Esther, that the government are not truthful in what is going on in Nigeria. Benue State alone has 21 IDP camps with over 500,000 people in IDP camps. Then this is a state that prides itself as food basket of the nation. Then they cannot go to farm and do the necessities. They cannot farm any longer. And the Minister of Agriculture is talking about food insecurity. And we are saying that the minister is calling on prayer, to curb food insecurity in Nigeria when the government has failed in doing the needful.
Oh, Mr. Elvis, they have rescinded that circular because it was quite obnoxious and it was ridiculous. When that circular came out, Nigerians criticized the federal government, the Ministry of Agriculture, and said, what exactly are they doing? And eventually they suspended the prayer and fasting. A method communication will come up.
Do they even need to think of such thing? If to get to the extent of people saying it has been rescinded, do they even need to think of such thing? We have a functional armed forces in this nation. We have not been told that all the billions that goes into defense every year, we don't know what it is being spent for. There was a time we were celebrating Tucano jet in this nation. Where is the Tucano jet today? The Tucano helicopter, where is it today? Nobody is asking of all this. Then we are still seeing the killing, even worse in this administration. When we thought we had a general as head of state, and now look at the general field, and the person who even said that he has come for a new look at the hope we are now. Is it even a new? Is it not worse now? So a situation where we leave the object and chasing the shadow is something that Nigerians have to actually wake up and think about. Even the DG of DSS has actually told Nigeria in one of his videos that we need to start thinking about how to defend ourselves. The federal government should look into such. The Benue youth that came out and said, no, enough is enough. They are ordered into detention now with tear gas and all that. These are the same security persons that could not protect them. So instead of you to allow Nigerians to begin to think of how to protect themselves, then you are talking about when they come out to protest that, oh, this killing is too much, you now release the same armed forces that could not defend them to now begin to intimidate them and now begin to molest them. Look at the number of deaths we're talking about within a space of 1 month that have died in the state. One state in a Benue state. Over 300 Nigerians have been wasted in one state. Are we at war? Even the Ukraine and Russia war, we have not seen such death within 1 month. For the past 3 years, that war has been on. But here in Nigeria, we are playing the history. We are fighting ourselves. Instead of us to do the right thing, the government is, attacking the opposition at all times because the opposition is there to speak the truth.
Mr. Elvis, Mr. Elvis, my colleague would like to ask you more questions. Go ahead.
Mr. Elvis, thank you for joining us on the World News at 6 this evening. It's quite unfortunate the kind of bloodshed we experience in this country on a daily. If you remember the Air India crash, it was less than 24 hours after that Prime Minister Narendra Modi actually visited the scene, and you can see that rescue efforts were underway even before he got there. Yes, the president has given directive to service chiefs, but just like Esther said, these people are going there, they are spending, it's almost as if they look at the area and they're like, I cannot
stay
here. Now, I want to refer you back to a tweet, I don't know if it's been deleted, from the president's handle that was made on the 14th of April 2014, where he said that the buck stops at the president's table, and if President Jonathan cannot secure the lives of Nigerians, then he should resign. Can anybody actually make such a statement at this point without being told that, that they have committed a treasonable offense? Also, reports are saying the president said he will clear his busy schedule to visit Benue on Wednesday. That it is that to say to Nigerians, I'm just pitying you, it's because people are shouting. If not, I would have just stayed in my Aso Rock mansion. How will Nigerians believe that the president is empathetic to them, even as the campaigns for 2027, a second term, are underway?
Thank you, Choma. The visit to Benue is a belated matter. Nigerians do not even celebrate it because we saw the president throughout almost over a week in Lagos, his residence in Lagos was turned to Mecca of sort. Nigerian politicians coming to visit him and all of them endorsing him. endorsing him inside this trouble. You made mention of the Prime Minister of India visiting the victims of the plane crash, within some hours. In Nigeria, we have had a major crisis in Niger State about 2 weeks ago. Till now, the president has not visited. It's not even the cry now that Nigerians are saying, where is the president? Where is the president of this nation? That's why he wants to grudgingly now go to Benue State. And you will listen by Wednesday, you hear the statement he's going to make in Benue State. He's not going to add anything to the suffering of the Benue people. There was a time about 4 years ago, one of the radio station analysts was sent delegates and cameramen to Benue State to go and meet the IGP in their respective camp. If you see the agony they were going through there, about 4 years ago, then now just opposed it to what we are facing now. It's even like instead of what they were going through there. The state where people can no longer go to work, they can no longer go to farm, they can no longer do their business. And even we're talking about the fringes then in Benue. But now we are not talking about the killing now, getting to Makodi local government. Even that Makodi is the headquarters of Benue State. The killing has even come into the main town. We are not even talking about the fringes now. And we're told that this very one that this Yawata that happened now is just some kilometers away from the Air Force base. And no response when those people were just being massacred throughout from 10 p.m. in the night to almost daybreak. There was no response. So this is to tell you that the president, the government don't have your interest and my interest at heart. When by the time they get in there, all they are planning now is 2027.
It's quite unfortunate.
One more thing Magbila said was that President Tinubu is not being given the correct information on the killings in Benue State.
No, his exact words was he's been surrounded by psychopaths.
He's been surrounded. This is not the first time we're hearing that the president is being surrounded by psychopaths. But then, can we tie back his response or this delayed response to the fact that he's not been given the right information or he's been surrounded by psychopaths who are not actually letting him know the gravity of what's going on? Because when the president made a statement, he said that the governor needs to call the warring factions to order. How do you reconcile the victims
this was
with
the same
terrorists?
And this was the same statement that was given to the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Muftwang. The president made the same statement to Caleb Muftwang, asking him that he knows what to do to resolve the imbroglio in Plateau State, meaning it was a communal clash or it was a reprisal attack amongst community members. That's basically what the president told the governor of Benue State. And then obviously saw the one that happened in Enugu State. These individuals, these elements of darkness, of demonic heritage, have pervaded the entire nation, causing chaos. And it feels like the Nigerian security architecture is overwhelmed or underwhelmed to resolve this. Mr. Elvis Elimehele, what call to action should be now? Because yesterday or day before yesterday, when the youths in Benue State decided to protest, Mr. Elvis, do you know that they were fired tear gas? There was a helicopter up. They prevented them from continuing. So if you could have such a response from our defense team, why was that response, that immediate response with that kind of alacrity not deployed the night these families, these persons who had walked and slept were burnt to ashes? Where were these individuals then?
That is the surprise of Nigerians. When the attack comes, we will not see the armed forces, but when there is a protest, because of the attack, we'll see them in numbers now begin to intimidate the people who are also crying as victims of attack. Then you now when you are talking about psychophancy, I get worried. Is it only in Nigeria that we keep hearing about psychophancy? When they were criticizing Jonathan's government, when the president was saying Jonathan cannot protect Nigeria, well, he should resign, when he was then an opposition leader in APC. Now today the ball is in his court. What has he done now? We saw that even in 2014, 2015, when Boko Haram was so much higher in the northeast, Jonathan shifted the election a while and was able to, curb the activities of bandits and militants and terrorists in northeast, and the election was conducted that brought APC into power. Today, as we speak, if the election had to go on in Nigeria, if this insecurity is not curbed, over 10 local governments in Benue State cannot go to the pool because they are all in ITP camp.
And that's the food basket of the nation.
And inside their
is one piece. For 100 naira. Yellow pepper,
you.
one piece of yellow pepper is 100
That's Cameroon
naira.
pepper.
Yes, that's that yellow pepper. The one that one piece of yellow pepper is 100 naira. The food basket of the nation is being pillaged and being ravished. And is it time to actually admit failure and maybe bring in foreign mercenaries, Esther?
I don't know why that is not on the table. The chief of defense staff told us before the president traveled to Rome that they have everything under control. This was before Mahmouda came out and gave a threat to the chief of defense staff, gave a threat to residents, gave a threat to the federal government of Nigeria, warning them to stop labeling them terrorists, saying that the government of recruiting the young people to join them, that the government of the day wasn't properly paying them well, and threatened the chief of defense staff. We did not hear any single response.
Can we even draw a straight line from the, would we say, the Amajiri system to these people being recruited to becoming terrorists? Because you're seeing a situation whereby
we cannot categorize by naming Amajiris. We cannot say that. You can't put that stroke on Amajiris. What we are saying is, whoever these individuals are, who are they? Where are they from? What's the extraction? Mr. Elvis, please continue.
You will agree with me that the people who are benefiting from this crisis in Nigeria are the ones that the presidency are not ready to name them. That's why you are hearing psychophants all around. Esther, even as sophisticated as Russia, they have mercenaries in fighting their war with Ukraine. Why can't we look at that side, look at such angle, to at least give Nigerians peace for a while? But because some people are benefiting from it, they know that if mercenaries come, the truth will be unraveled. They will not allow it. They will tell you that Nigerian armed forces is capable to do it. Unfortunately, the same Nigerian armed forces we are talking about are not well equipped. When Shetima was the governor of Borno State, he went to meet President Buhari then in Afro and told Buhari that Nigerian armed forces are not as sophisticatedly equipped as the terrorists in Northeast. And he was condemned then. But today, he is the vice president, second in command. But we cannot hear about, equipping Nigerian armed forces now to be able to face the crisis in Nigeria. Unfortunately, what we are hearing is how to get into power in 2027. Is it not when this nation is even appealed that we begin to talk of even going to vote for somebody if there's going to be any election at all? The same vice president now is not playing the ostrich as if he doesn't know that the crisis is said over there, that Nigerian armed forces are not well equipped. It's even worse.
Thank you so much, Mr. Elvis. Thank you so much, Mr. Elvis. We'll continue to hold the government accountable and hope that very soon something will be done to resolve this situation. Thank you so much for joining us on the World News at 6 this evening. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
Thank you, Esther. Have a blessed day.
All right, thank you, Mr. Elvis. We sincerely appreciate your analysis. Choma, let's talk a little bit on this. If you had watched the video where the endorsement was ongoing, I was so shocked to see our senators behave in such a rabid manner. This was rabid. The way the chaos, the way it descended to that chaotic manner, to the extent that the governor was shouting, "Hamana, that is, stop it, stay back there." He was literally shouting at them to control themselves, and these individuals in their rapidity were busy taking chairs, pushing themselves. I saw one removing his agbada. So are these kind of persons that we are with on a daily basis? Choma, you go on social media, you have our eloquent youth, our intelligent youth, have themselves in conversations that is all about ethnicity. You're not seeing them talk about how issues can be resolved, how we can hold our government of the day accountable, how we can prefer solutions for them to help us resolve the problems we're going through. Everything, it seems like it's an attack against the president. So when you criticize genuinely, when you talk genuinely, they come at you and say that it's because you have an intention against the president of the day. Choma, Pope Leo, from on Sunday, actually commiserated with the people of Benue, and the president had not said anything. Now let's say, for example, that the president was trying to assess the situation. Choma, it took him that long to assess it.
After watching this video, now you understand very well what we mean when we say that Nigeria is irredeemable. When we call for the disintegration of Nigeria, you will now understand. There is no plan, and there is no way Nigeria will survive in the dish that it is today. And Nigeria continue to deepen into more failure, into more disaster, into more insecurity, and into more economic instability. The earlier we begin to think wisely and focus on the solution, which is disintegration, the better for all of us. It is not a selfish request. It is not just about the Biafran. It is about humanity. If you want to save humanity, you must support the disintegration of the contraption called Nigeria. Divide the country along people that have same value system. People that have same value system. The Oduduwa people, the Middle Belt, the Northerners, and the Southeastern and the Biafrans. That is the only solution. No matter how you try to run away from it, it will continue to haunt you. Thank you, and let's keep watching. Go to comment section and share your comments.